Be at 9 o'clock, pledge of allegiance.
That my pledge to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands.
The approval of the agenda. Agenda here, there's 3 consent items and 7 action. The discussion. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carried. Previous minutes from November 7th. The additions or corrections to that.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carried. Public comment. Point is public comment. Nobody on the screen. Yes. Questions?
And so city council last night said Allen Homes water is safe about the rest of the.
I guess that's a question that perhaps our people from public health might be able to answer. John, if you wish to comment on that.
Morning. Your questions, so I'll try and talk to you and the board here.
This is information that came out in the press in last week. There was not a lot of knowledge of this being an issue until the press story came out. I'll be meeting with public health directors in the 8 counties that are identified. I'll be meeting with them tomorrow morning and also with representation from the Minnesota Department of Health. And hopefully we have more information. So it's a broad spectrum of access to water, from municipal water sources with very deep wells and things that are done in municipal water sources to address potential contaminants, to really deep wells that are personal wells, to shallow wells, and all kinds of things. So we're trying to figure out what our role is and what the problem actually is, and hopefully I'll have more information that we'll be sharing after we meet on Wednesday. Yeah.
Thank you. I answer your question. Any other public comment? Not appear to be. Moving on to consent agenda, we have 3 items on there.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carried. Number 1 on the action items, consider approving the 24-25 delegation agreement work plan with MPCA feedlot program. Amelia.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I think all of you guys have probably seen one of these before, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but the work plan is basically what we're committing to do in a year to the MPCA, which the bread and butter of that program is that the on-site feedlot inspections, and they require that we inspect 70% of our feedlots, which in 2024 will be 21. And then 25 is left up in the air at this point. Aside from that, I guess everything else, I pretty much followed what we've committed to in the past. So every county handles it differently. I guess we've just always said we'll meet the bare minimum. We're always welcome to go above and beyond, but
21 and increase from last year.
not from this present year, but we've actually seen a decrease because we've seen a decrease in our number of feedlots. So we were at 25, I think, prior to this year.
How many feedlots have we lost?
I don't know. I think it was like around 50.
Okay.
I don't remember the total numbers right offhand.
And those are all active feedlots or some feedlots that weren't active and they just withdrew.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of there's a generation getting out of it that nobody's coming back, or there's not another one taking over. So they weren't necessarily a lot of the larger feedlots. They were some that were kind of borderline being registered anyway. And then they may have dropped to a point where they weren't required to be registered under state standards anymore. And then that is what determines our funding, though, is whether they hit that certain threshold or not. So we did see a little decrease, but I guess I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but they did give us, the feedlot program for the next biennium did get an increase in funding. I think ours came out to like 13 grand a year, I guess, don't quote me on that, but, that did come down from the state for the next year.
So there's no real big changes in this agreement,
And what we're proposing, no,
Right. but as we talked about at land use, there could be some coming. So could they amend this midstream or not?
and I don't know how quickly that would come down.
Right.
Anything, and that's why I guess I prefer to just commit to doing the bare minimum, because if we could go above and beyond and say that we're going to do twice our rate and do extra, like these desktop NNPs that we were talking about, which is a records review. But then if something happened where we weren't going to meet that, we'd have to go back and amend it. So I imagine it could come from the opposite side too, and saying we want you to up your game
Okay,
in coming years and change that.
all right. Well, I make a motion to approve the 24-25 delegation agreement work plan with the MPCA feedlot program.
I'll second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is approved ratification of the public health document maintenance support agreement 24-26. Public health doc is a case management system used in our public health division. Yeah,
The intro there pretty much states it. Since this is a 3-year agreement, it's not something you see on an annual basis. We're one of 37 counties that use PHDoc for our case management for a variety of things in our public health division. It is part of the Minnesota Computer Cooperative, and they contract with an organization called Avenue Insights and Analytics. And so the main contract goes to the Minnesota Computer Cooperative, and then we have a portion of it. Our portion of that for the maintenance and support of the program over the next 3 years. And for 2024, the first year of it is $21,754. And we did budget for this. We budget for this every year. Any questions?
basically it's a maintenance program.
Yeah, it's one of, you hear us talk about different computer systems that we use to manage cases, to manage content, documents, those kinds of things. This is just an ongoing maintenance and support agreement that each of those 37 counties participate in. And our proportionate share of that is the 21,754.
Not necessarily a new program, it's just a maintenance.
Does it work well?
It's, any computer system we have, we kind of wish it would do different things or it would stop doing something. But it's a tool that's integral to what we do. And, they too take input from users and make adjustments and improvements.
Make a motion to approve. PH Doc maintenance and support agreement 2024-2026.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Commissioners, one other comment. There's two kinds of computer systems that we deal with. These are computer systems that county uses to manage our work. There's other computer systems that the state makes us use. Things like Maxis and METS and some of those types of things, SSIS. So this isn't that. This isn't run by the state. It's something that counties choose to get involved with as a means to managing our work.
So it's not tied to the state.
Yeah.
This is a cooperative by other
Right.
users of the, there's other counties I see
Correct.
listed here, right?
Yeah.
The user group, I mean, you got quite a few here, 37.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I just wanted to draw that distinction. It's not like one of those programs that we have some input into that as well, but all counties need to participate in those programs.
Mhm.
Got a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried. Number three.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Number three, consider approving MCCC Amendment 8 through 2024 and MCCC Amendment 8 through 2025 to support the provide tax support for the Avenue property tax system. Sounds so complicated. The support is necessary as the county transitions to a Windows-based system. Explain it, Carol.
Well, it's pretty much the same as the PH Doc. This is our annual support, where they help us with problems. They update our tax system due to legislative changes and that, we are looking at transitioning to a Windows-based system, but just based on the schedule of the companies that I've contacted, that we would need this support on our current tax system until we get transitioned.
till 25.
Yeah.
Through 25.
It's typically a 3-year contract, but we're assuming that everyone is going to be off by 2026. So,
If you get into the new system sooner, can this contract be,
no,
so this will be for the 2 years?
right. And I can pretty much guarantee that we wouldn't be on a schedule of transition until 2025.
Bring it aboard.
And, we did have a demonstration of the Tyler system and we got pricing on that. And I've been looking at the other systems and it is actually less than what I found for the other systems
Oh, so it's
for our tax program.
not an expensive little property.
No. No. And maybe because more counties are actually going to that system than what they had initially planned.
So we had some money that we're gonna use for that. Possibly.
We do have some money at MCCC. Through the years, the county has paid enhancement funds. Well, because the system is pretty much on its way out, these enhancement funds, it was voted at the last tax advisory committee meeting that a certain amount of it would be coming back to the county. So we'll be using that, and I think that was like $26,000. Then, of course, on the trial balance that you get each month, it has an investment of approximately $127,000, and that's been there for years and has been for, like, say, upgrading our AS400 or upgrading our tax system. And it came because we used to have to be self-funded for workers' comp, but then we transitioned to MCIT, and the board kept that money separated so that it could be used specifically for the tax system or AS400. That's my.
I'll make a motion that we keep on with the MCCC Amendment 8 through 25.
Amendment 8 through 2024 and Amendment 8 through 2025.
Amendment 8 through 24 and Amendment 8 through 25.
there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? If none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried. The next one is consider approving transfer of funds from the highway fund to capital projects fund as listed below. It would be in our files here. Transfer is processed to eliminate a negative cash balance in August 2022. It was not presented to the board at that time. Carol.
Yeah, it's, it was, had to do with the whole building fund and we were moving money from highway department to capital funds, the capital account to cover the expenses of the portion that we were going to use from highway. And I had you approve all of the transfers
Mhm.
that were necessary, but I didn't have you approve this one. And it's really basically a cleanup item that was discovered through our audit.
Through audit.
Mhm.
That was my question.
And I have to notify her that you approve it today.
So how much is it?
It was 282,000, I believe.
So this is to clear it up because it's already been done.
It's already been done. Yes, this is just having the board
Okay.
approve it.
I make a motion, we transfer funds from highway fund to capital fund, projects fund. As listed below there and from August 2022.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried. Next is fees, approve additional fee schedules. And get my card up here. Go ahead, Carol.
So the board did just recently approve the fee schedule, but then I was notified of a few different things that hadn't gotten updated. So we wanted to get those done. In particular, the jail fee, the out of county rate and the per day rate and the per day with special supervision increased. And then the Wildcat Committee had met and approved the new fees for the 2024 camping season. Increasing the seasonal by, was it $200 or 300? Increasing the monthly rate by 100 and increasing the per night electric site by $5.
One of the things on this, in the recorder there, it just, is that 1/1/2024, is that just a date, or is that? that's the
Right,
only
they
thing
didn't
that-
want, the board approved the fee increase, but they didn't want it effective until 1/1 of
Okay,
2024.
For land shark,
The others will be effective, well, they'll be effective immediately, but the Wildcat wouldn't take
Yeah.
effect until the season starts.
And then the jail, see, where was that?
The jail would be effective immediately.
so the single and per day rate. And special supervision rate.
Mhm.
What was that before? Do you remember?
It was, I believe, $10 less.
Okay, so they increased $10.
Mhm.
And the camping fees went from 350.
And we increased $100 on the seasonal per year, per season.
Okay.
And then I believe it was 50 on the monthly.
No, $100 on the monthly.
Going from 450 to 5.
Yeah, the monthly rate was $100 increase. To kind of go in line with the seasonals and. But. And they're considerably less than places around.
The electric sites at $60 per night versus 50.
Correct.
Make a motion to approve the fee schedule changes.
A second.
Who's second? Okay. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, say nay, carried. And then, the next one is the date, consider approving the 2024 commissioners meeting schedule.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Ally. Matt?
Yep, so the new meeting schedule was in the packet. It'll be on the website after you approve it. Lynn helped me with it, so we think we've got all the dates right, but yeah, same as always.
So we'll have in December, three regular meetings.
Next year.
I've got to look, because there is the AMC conference in there.
Yeah, so the 17th would be, we wouldn't have a workshop in December, is that,
Yeah, we decided to skip the work group
That's fine.
session.
because there's lots
Because you
to
might
do in
need
December, so.
those three meetings.
Makes sense.
Question with regard to the 31st of December, New Year's Eve. When do we have to have the final budget approval? Is there a date? Is that, I mean, like, is it 31st of December?
I'll have to look at next year's calendar. I'm sure. It might actually have to be.
So it'd be on the 17th of December.
The 2 weeks
We're talking
before.
next year.
Next year, yeah.
You asking for next year or this? year?
Just this schedule right here.
One to look at.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll find out for sure.
And I guess if you decided you didn't need the last meeting of the year, you could cancel that if you wanted.
I'll plan on starting early in New Year's Eve.
No.
Me neither.
Maybe we should.
Feeling of the board. Just to be complete there, I thought I found an extra month there when I was going through the calendar where there's 5 Thursday or Tuesdays, but I don't see it on here, so I guess we're okay.
Make a motion to approve the 2024 board meeting schedule.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Carried. Number 7, consider accepting a donation from the Houston County Posse to the Houston County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $4,470 for the installation of electricity at the Sheriff's Office shed. Mr. Sweatberg.
Morning, Commissioners. So after several years, we finally got electricity at the shed. Completed by Stemper Electric. And the posse did want to pay for that, so they are paying or giving us a donation for that. In that amount.
Did that cover all the expense?
Yes, it did.
I'll make a motion to approve the donation, accepting it.
Motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion?
Carol, you got something?
Okay.
I did just want to point out that earlier we had spent $1,573 for, I think it's something like that, for Kish Electric to do something originally. And now to get this completed, the highway department actually dug the trench, so they had some time invested. And I'm not sure if the board wants us to, transfer money to the highway department for that expense or not, so it's something to consider.
The 4470 is the cost to put
Yes.
electrical service inside the building.
That's just that.
Right.
Temporary.
Oh, okay, so there's
Secure
additional expense.
wiring, outlets, lights, switches for inside the building. Because we'd already brought the power over to the building. In preparation for this, it's just a question of getting the interior done, so.
Did the city put the power? Did they run the wire? In the trenching?
I think the city ran the wire, but we paid them. I mean, there was a cost to have them do it.
I'm not sure if there was a cost to do it. I don't,
Well,
I
why-
I don't believe there was a cost to do it. I can check to make sure.
Well, there was a cost for the highway to dig the trench to get for Kish to get the wire to it. Right? That's what it's doing. I kind of, I remember that. So now highway wants to get reimbursed for that.
Well, she was just pointing out
Yeah, I know.
that two guys working for however many hours. Highway staff trenched in an electric line to the sheriff's storage building out here. Brian was just directed by the commissioners to do this. Do we bill this back or should we just consider this no charge work? About 11 hours, two guys.
It's a
Put a
horse.
number to it, a dollar amount, no dollar.
I think we.
$44.70 to pay for what the electrical service inside the building was. What the highway department did is done and gone and we've been done with it.
They moved the building for us too, they were all, you know.
Well, you should point out too that the highway also. Actually, we had. Craig do that, tore the building down, and then I think. A couple of highway guys put it back up,
Craig helped them, I think.
Yep.
Was it not?
so there was time and effort there too, which I commend them guys for doing that. I mean, Craig tore it down and I believe highway ended up putting it back up. Quite positive. Cause we had to move it, it was over. Where the sand or sheds are,
It's not all last year.
Hmm.
Was that last year?
that was one of the first things they did when they started the project, just to move that impound shed.
Was that 22 or 20?
It'll be 23, I thought.
No,
Oh, 22, I mean, last year.
probably 21.
We put the, sand buildings up, then we put them up right away.
Oh, good.
So that's why we had to have that building moved.
That was one of the first things we did right away. Tear that down, rebuild it. Well, we're basically acting on this
one.
donation here to the posse to give to pay for the electric. Didn't we give the posse some ARP money for that too? Did we give posse ARPA money?
We used ARPA money to pay the Kish electric bill. We had allocated $5,000.
Okay.
I think we're getting too involved. We just take the 44.
Let's go.
Accept the donation and say thank you.
Yeah, we got the motion made and well, good discussion, so any more discussion? There being none, all in favor say aye, opposed say nay. Carried. Okay, that takes care of all the action items, moving on to board updates here. We'll start with Greg.
Okay, got a couple meetings coming up this week. Tomorrow morning, we have an on-farm visit up on Yucatan Ridge. And then Thursday night, we have probably a pretty contested zoning meeting from a couple buildings in the present. Well, that's probably gonna be interesting.
Farm visit and zoning. Okay.
And that's about all I got for right now.
Okay.
I did go out and look at the airport. That looks pretty nice what they did out there. One guy come up, he was all worked up. Oh, we got all in too much fill for in the middle. And I said, well, I'll go look at it. I don't see any problem with that. And he put down a couple loads of sand, pour cement. You're in pretty nice shape.
No point putting it in, so you take it back out.
Yeah. But not, I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Schultz.
I had a Winlock meeting that I went to for Dewey yesterday. They needed a full board quorum to move some funding around and make some financial decisions. Other than that, they just kind of gave updates on where they're at and their plans, so there was a lot of other action at that. I did attend the Crescent Township meeting where I was asked to listen to some of the people that were there, and there will be an interesting meeting on Thursday. And you can from there. And we had land use this morning, Eric and I, and there really wasn't a lot in there, just a few updates on some well testing and small land issues that are more civil. That's all I got.
So when you talk about updates on well testing, goes to the Argus question. Is that well testing pertaining to nitrates and whatnot, or?
Amelia was referring to there's a well map that they use for locating wells. As far as testing, we've always had free water test kits for people to use. Through public health or soil and water. And so. And also. Here a few years back, there was a township water testing program that was voluntary. And there was, I know Houston Township was involved in that, we participated. And there was other townships throughout the county that participated in this. And it was interesting to see the results of that in most of the, like, in the Houston area, our nitrates were way below the level needed to be. Where it was higher in some areas where it is in the southeast section of the county. And, you know, it could be because of the karst, who knows, you know.
Another interesting fact that they pointed out too is some of Dave Walker said that a lot of the water that is being brought to the surface in the wells is 40 years old. They figured
The average age of the water that's being consumed now is 40 years old.
really.
So the thing is that, you know, people want a quick fix and want that needle to move right away. It's gonna take years in order to see the results of our efforts that we're doing, because like with the best management practices that are out there that we've been implementing, the cover crops, split application of nitrogen, the manure management plans, you know, it's going to take some years to see results of that effort. Because, you know, we're drinking water that's 40 years old right now.
So when the testing was done and the testing that may be coming. Does that also indicate the depth of the wells that are being tested?
See, that's there's the last report I saw, like 12% of the wells came back above the level. But it doesn't say what the condition of those wells were. Were they shallow wells? Were they non-cased wells? Were they sand points?
Yeah.
You know, some of those wells probably weren't legal wells as far as state rules now. So I don't know. That's stuff that they need to figure out. And EPA is directed the MPCA to, you know, figure this out. From what I understand in the news reports, they want people that have in the high nitrate levels that they have a free water program for those, and possibly provide a reverse osmosis units to help clean up their water.
Do we have small ones that are these
For your
for
well.
individual purposes?
Yep, for a well, yep.
Like the wells in Camp Winnebago are 25 feet. You can hear the water running. Put your head down, you can hear the water.
Really shallow wells, we're gonna get.
And my well is 285 feet deep. I test mine every 5 years. 3 years, last year I come back clean. The 2 years before I was 6% nitrates. The 5 years before that I was 9%. So every 5 years mine has dropped in nitrates, and now it's clean to bring for kids.
I
That's
participate in
just-
a voluntary one too. Someone else moved away and quit, so then I took it over and I provide sample too every year. Mine's always very minimal. There's hardly any nitrates.
So if the state gets involved with this, or has been involved with this, I guess. Do we get a report that maps out the county and shows the problematical areas and depths of those.
I would assume so, that they would be doing that. I don't know.
I remember hearing about like over by Spring Grove after northern grading issue of their well and what. The bloom that supposedly you can see as far as from there and how it spreads out to the south and the east. Spring Grove as far as the bloom. And I've never seen it, so I don't know if it's actually up there.
I haven't seen.
That's the problem. Now, these big dairies got 3 and 4 wells. I mean, there ain't no one wells on these big dairies anymore. Most of them got 4. You know, so they gotta be pretty deep for grade 8 mill. I'm sure they're down into that lock up, way down one where it's.
Jordan Lair.
Jordan Lair.
I was just curious. I'm sorry.
Well, you see, this came down from the federal EPA to the state NPCA, so. I think they're trying to gather the information, what to do with it and how to implement it in these conditions.
And I do mine through the soil conservation. I'll give you 3 samples and then
Just curious, when you do that, do they report it back to the state so that there's a record?
I think they send it into the state to get it tested and then they have it.
The state has a record.
Other than that, I'm good.
Sorry.
Okay. Mr. Burns,
Okay, all right. Last week I had the Selco finance meeting, reviewed the financial status on Selco, and they're in financially stable position, so they're in good shape. Last night was the SEMCAC annual meeting, so they had awards for people that have been with SEMCAC for quite a while, and then they introduced the new executive director for SEMCAC as the current executive announced his retirement and resignation. And SEMCAC, Doug. And SEMCAC is doing well. There's a lot of things going on with SEMCAC. One of the things that we're talking about is maybe educating board members to a little bit, have a better understanding of all the different aspects of SEMCAC. I mean, there's housing, there's food, there's weatherization. But there's another dozen different aspects of what SEMCAC does that I'm not fully aware of everything they do. I see all the financial reports and all these different things they talk about, but I don't know what they actually are doing with it. So I asked if we could have some more education on that. We had our community services meeting. I let Dewey talk about that from this morning, but one thing I will ask about. Carol, currently on our budget for 2024, how much are we over the 7%, roughly? The 7% levy increase, how much above that are we right now?
are you asking dollar amount or
Dollar.
percentage?
Dollar amount, could be percentage, I know how to work that back too.
What's your
At
next
any rate-
question? What's your next question?
At any rate,
That's leading to something else.
yeah, it is, because I think from the point of view of veteran service officer and all the additional work, we do need to consider his staffing to increase to full-time.
As well as the extension.
Well, I'm talking about the veteran service office first.
Well, I'm talking about the extension
So that's a $12,500 ad
for veterans.
for the veteran service office because of,
I thought it was 14.
he said this morning it was 12. If it's 14, it's 14. But yes, Carol? No, Carol.
It's still reuse.
Anyways,
That's,
we're $318,000 above the 7% increase.
Let me,
That's 2%. That's over 2%. I thought we were just a little bit over the 7% levy increase. Okay. Anyways, I'm of the opinion that we for sure increase the staffing for the Veteran Service Office to a full-time position.
It's not increasing the staff, it's increasing the 0.75
0.7,
to
yeah.
1 point.
So
She's only
increasing it to an FTE.
Yep.
Full-time. From part-time.
With all the things happening in the vet services and all the things that are required and things that are happening around us, we found out, and he had a figure of 12, 14 when he first initially brought that to us, and it's kind of narrowed it down to that area of 12.5 he feels would pretty much handle it.
Well, I've got calls from veterans and they say that he's behind. He needs help because he's not getting all the programs out to these vets and he's can't get it all done.
Part of it's not his fault. Some of it, he gets the information sent to the state and they sit on it. They send back information to the vet, says, well, we don't have it. You go online, they do have it, they just haven't got to it. So there's a combination of issues here, but he needs the help. Just because he's getting buried with so much stuff, including veterans that are coming over from La Crosse County and other areas. Because they're not getting any service over there, so in my opinion, we need to expand and go to a full-time instead of 3/4 time person for the Veteran Service Office. I'll let you address the.
Well, I appreciate what Rob is saying and he met with a personnel committee here back in, when was it? July or? We talked about it and went through it and he sold me on his need for it. As far as extension, I mean, I wish we could have them come in every once a month and lobby for it too. But there's a need there too with Katie Druitz is doing a tremendous job. She's very active, she does a lot of things. She's on the TV, she's on radio, she's trying to do field stuff, demonstrations and she could
Who's the
use
county employee?
Jennifer.
Katie is,
She's the extension educator.
Right.
She does Houston and Fillmore County. So
but she is not our employee.
we pay a contract to him with the university on it.
Right.
But Jennifer is our employee.
Right.
Yep.
She's the only one that's out.
Yep.
Okay. Like I
okay,
said,
so the 7% levy.
Yep.
Net levy left us just with a $11,000 some deficit. And
Sure.
the county revenue fund is where that's reflected.
Right.
So highway and human services and debt service have balanced budgets. And the county had the 11,000 some deficit.
11.7.
so let's, just using the Veteran Service Office of 14,000, that'd be a $25,000 over and above the 7%, which would end up coming out of fund balance
Reserve.
or reserve. Second thing I want to mention, and we don't have to just, it's just, I'm promoting that right now. Second thing I want to mention is I've been in contact, Brian gave me the name of one of the state vehicle people for the state bid price on vehicles. And I've looked at new, and this is the GM, and it'd be like a Chevy Equinox. So if you look at them on the lots and whatnot, they're in that $29,000-$30,000 bracket. We can
For a base unit.
for a base unit. But a base unit through the bid price, state bid price, we could get a Equinox. It's not truly base because it's got a lot of, the bid package includes, backup screen and all that. Anyways, it's just under $25,000. With a 3 to 5 month backlog. He's also gonna send me a listing of the used state bid price vehicles that they've taken back in again. I don't know if they take them in trade or but how that works. But he's gonna send me a listing of those with how much we have, how many miles those vehicles have on it. The purpose being is that if Human Services has got 3 vehicles that are going to, that they own in our about shop. If we could get 3 vehicles yet this year from the used portion of it to replace them and use ARPA money for that. Put the 100,000 that Carol's got into the reserve for future vehicles. Like the 3 fleet vehicles that are gonna come due next year. So we can start working on that process, but I would suggest that yet this year we use some ARPA money and buy 3 vehicles for Health and Human Services.
3 used ones.
3 used ones, but I don't know, I gotta see the list and how many miles they got, how much they charge. If it's like you're going to the dealership, they might be charging just as much for the used as you do for a new.
Well, I'd like to see it kept local. I mean, we only have one dealership in Houston County. I'd like to see, is there any way we could utilize them?
Sure.
You can check it.
But a used one with more fluff on it than we need, and 40,000 miles costs more than the new one. The bid price, so we'd have to do some serious negotiating to see what we can do. I agree with you as far as using the local. Just depends on cost factor.
What's available.
I will be-
What I was referring to, you said the only one in here is only new dealer.
Right.
Yeah, we have a lot of used dealers.
Yes, yeah. And I agree with staying local, but I want to see I'll report when I get the list next week as far as what the used state bid price cost. Just because those we could get pretty quick.
I didn't realize state had used.
I didn't either until he told me about it. So
Well, I mean, what do we put on those cards? 15,000 a year?
I don't think that. I know like the Jeep I drove last night, which comes due next year, and they've had them for 5 years. It had 33,000 miles.
That's all that's gonna.
That's all it's got on. So they're all in the 30s. So.
So they should have a pretty good resale value. Only 37,000. Of course, it's a Jeep.
Those are leased, right?
Those are leased.
They gotta go back.
We can buy out the lease
If we want.
if we want. I don't think anybody wants the Jeeps. I don't have a problem with it. It gets me where I want to go and back. I don't care. I only have to drive it once in a great while. Anyways,
So on the state bid, who do they work with? They got 1 or 2 dealers in the state they work
one
with?
dealer. North Country GM from Hibbing, Minnesota.
They get all the state business.
Got the state, well, I think the state puts it out for bids, and this is the outfit that had the best bid.
They kind of vary because there's times when they used to have them like in a dealer on Brooklyn Boulevard. I remember the name, place, I don't remember the name of the place, but you know, like Bob says, they, I don't know if it's annually or every other year or whatever, but they kind of bounce around. It seems like all of a sudden you're going to Duluth to get a vehicle, or you're going to Mankato to get one.
Kind of with your shopping locally, a lot of the smaller departments and agencies, a lot of times would talk to their local dealers. Like when we buy squad cars through state bid to see if they could match it. And usually they couldn't get to the bottom line. Cause that's just, you know, that's like the lowest they get, but sometimes they would get very close.
They can get close, yeah.
Time to figure in your manpower to go drive there and get
Right.
it, et cetera.
Right.
Sometimes that would work out too,
Yep.
so maybe our local dealer could come close, but
It wouldn't hurt to talk to them.
no, not at all, stay local.
We jump on it.
Nice research, Bob.
So I'll have better information next.
We got a full week next week. It's looking
Yeah.
like.
It's gonna be a busy one.
Anything else, sir?
No, that's plenty enough for me. Sorry.
Mr. Johnson?
Had land use meeting with Bob here too this morning. Polly, did you want to announce what you want? You had to skip out earlier, but you have public auction coming up on some tax forfeited parcels.
There's two parcels, one in the city of Caledonia and one in Money Creek Township. Public auction will be held at 10 o'clock on December 6th. Yeah, so we're hoping things go well, and at this point, we decided to go with, after our board meeting, that change was made where it's not going to be the minimum bid being the minimum estimated value, but it will be kind of the amount of, I don't know if back taxes isn't the right word, but what has been, what's due along with any miscellaneous fees. So we're going to start with those amounts as the minimum bids and hopefully just build up from there.
Okay.
Was those in the paper here recently? It's like on the east side of Caledonia, and I didn't catch the or the other one.
Yep, the other one is in Money Creek Township,
So where is this auction held?
in the commissioner's room, actually.
Commissioner's room?
Yep. So we'll just meet up there, and anybody that was interested, it's been in the papers, and the neighboring landowners have gotten letters, as well as a list of 20 to 25 people that we had on file that said, if and when you have auctions, will you please notify us? So they all got letters too with the legal descriptions and the different information.
Okay.
So the only people that can't bid on that is us. Right? Pretty sure that
And the person or the board?
the board member,
I could bid on this person, correct? Like
they're a
that,
board member.
so that eliminates me from doing that?
Seems to me that we would have a
Would that be-
conflict if we're running from the county. We represent
If you're serious,
It wouldn't look ethical.
Be tough.
So I gotta find somebody else to do that.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Okay. Anything else? Dave?
No, I guess that's it.
Reservations for an AMC convention coming up. Doesn't Polly usually take care of that for us?
We could,
Are we all going? I guess first of all, it's a question, are we all going in December?
No, I won't be able to make it, the wife can't get off.
Okay,
I haven't planned for it yet.
huh?
I have not planned for it yet.
Okay, but it's starts the 3rd on Sunday, the 4th, 5th, and 6th. It ends at noon. Well, I think in the years past, Donna made reservations, or do we make our own? What's the plan?
Donna made them all last time I went.
Yep.
I have called, I have made my own reservation.
Okay. So should we want to leave it up to each individual then, or do we want? You going down there?
I plan on going.
I guess I'm still planning on, 'cause I have and got a shack meeting at same week too about this. And Bob, Schultz, you're just in the question mark yet. Okay. I guess, so the plan, make our own in there, just,
Or Polly could set it up too, if you want to, Polly. If you don't want to, we'll do our own.
I'd be happy to. So just Dewey and Eric at this point, and
Yeah.
Bob will let me know whenever you decide for sure.
He's already did his, the way it sounded.
Bob Schultz,
Oh, yeah, Bob showed it.
You can get hold of them.
he'll get a hold of you,
Okay, sounds good. And then if you were not going, you said, correct?
okay,
Got it.
right? Oh, it's coming up pretty quick here. Last week I was involved with what they call a coffee conversation with Minnesota Department of Health, and kind of rehashing the same things we've been talking about with the cannabis. And it was interesting to hear about what's going on throughout the state, got the same concerns and issues as we do. What's that 12-5 number mean? The education part. It's just the beginning of several meetings, and we're gonna start sharing ideas or what other counties are gonna send me proposed ordinances, you know, as to, of course, we did the location thing already, but the licensing.
Public consumption.
Yeah. So, but that was last Thursday. And then on this investigation, and do we have a contract there on that, Eric, as to rates and amount, BAP or anything like that?
We have a contract?
Yeah, do we have a contract?
No,
And it's open-ended then?
open-ended.
Yeah.
It's
Or
$102 an hour. is the rate,
how much?
$102,
Okay, and how many hours can you put in?
as long as it takes.
And then the county's paying for that?
Why wouldn't, we also be paid?
Well, I'm just wondering if there's stuff, I mean, the individual is gonna take, it's gonna take hours. It's not gonna be one of those here $10,000-12,000 things. So I'm just kind of curious.
Well, the last investigation that we had, it cost like $10,000. So, I mean, the county paid for that, so.
I was just curious because it came up. Okay, and that's all I had.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
That I've got? I'm sorry. But it's just a kind of an interesting point of that. One of the board members for SEMCAC out in western part of Minnesota, western part of the region, was telling me about their situation. Now, we have issues as far as personnel and whatnot. Their county administrator is resigning. Their highway engineer is resigning. Their assistant highway engineer is resigning. Their assessor is resigning. He said they're in a world of hurt.
Which county is this?
Either Rice or Steel.
Well, they are in a world.
I think
it's Rice.
I think it's Rice. So. The only thing I can say is refer back to Spring Grove and say, "Off the Vita Pew." So
Anything
we don't
else?
have it that bad.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've got one quick announcement. Next week, because it's holiday week, we're gonna have an early deadline for the agenda and packet of noon on Wednesday. And I emailed all the department heads and anyone that regularly requests agenda items this morning on that. So next week, noon on Wednesday is the deadline.
Right, next week is Thanksgiving week.
I'm a bad.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any other public comment? Any other public comment looking on the screen and?
Richard, can I mention something?
Go ahead, Brian.
I just let you know, I talked to the city of Caledonia about our shed. So the city of Caledonia is not charging us for running the electrical to the building. Since it's under their minimum requirement. And so the only expense besides the Stemper Electric would be the county's time and money spent trenching.
Yep, okay,
All right, just want to make sure that you know that.
very good, thank you. Anything else for the good of the cause? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say yep.
Yep.